On today's crash course, we will be discussing and identifying the themes, symbols, motifs, hubris, and extended metaphors found in The Merchant of Venice, and discussing how these devices influence the work as a whole. Throughout The Merchant of Venice, the conflict between Shylock and the Christians of Venice brings the issue of mercy into light. During the court dispute, the characters recognize that Shylock has the advantage over Antonio, but he is still expected to show Antonio mercy, which he refuses to do. During his trial, Shylock asks Portia what could compel him to be merciful, and Portia replies, "The quality of mercy is not strained." Clarifying what is at stake in the argument, in accordance with the Christian beliefs of the majority of the characters in the play, human beings should be merciful because God is merciful. Portia's excerpt about mercy is based on the way Christians view the idea of mercy and forgiveness. The New Testament portrays God as one who forgives rather than punishes and rewards those who forgive others. Therefore, when Portia warns Shylock against pursuing revenge without regard for mercy, she is promoting a pro-Christian and anti-Jewish agenda. When she endorses the belief of the New Testament, this idea is further promoted by Shylock's refusal to exercise mercy, while Christians do so. Once Portia turns the law against Shylock, she backs him into a corner where she strips him of his bond, his estate, and his wealth, forcing him to beg for the mercy that he previously refused to give. While Antonio can be seen as merciful in his deal to return Shylock's property, this is brought into question when Antonio takes away Shylock's religion and his profession. Thus, Antonio's compassion can actually be viewed as self-interest rather than mercy. Mercy in The Merchant of Venice never manages to be sweet, selfless, or full of grace as Portia presents it.
The motifs are deceit and the law, so a lot of the times in the book, it's talking about agreements and different rules that the characters have to follow throughout the plot. A lot of the rules and the guidelines of the agreements are manipulated. And like, for example, in Antonio and Shylock's agreement, Shylock manipulated the agreement so that he could have Antonio's pound of flesh from his chest. Until Portia's arrival, Shylock and the city's adherence to uphold the contracts threatens Antonio's life. However, when Portia arrives and manipulates the law in her favor, the outcome is changed to benefit Antonio, and he is rescued, and Shylock forced to abandon his religion. So, also another thing with Portia is when the caskets were a big part of the story, a lot of deceit was shown because the caskets made it look like Portia's picture would be in one of the nicer caskets, either the golds or the silver. But it was really what mattered in the inside, which was the text, and that was shown in the book because her picture was in the lead casket, and that was the ugliest one of them all. And the game kind of kept unwanted men away of the three men who tried to choose the correct casket to win Portia's hand. Without the proper guidance, the law also manipulates to benefit the evil.
The contest for Portia's hand, in which participants choose among a gold, silver, and a lead casket, represents the Christian teachings that were popular during the time of when the play was written. To win Portia, Bassanio must ignore the gold casket, which bears the message, "Who choose me shall gain what many men desire," and the silver casket, "Who choose me shall get as much as he deserves." The correct casket is lead and presents that the person who chooses it must give and risk everything he has. The game combines a number of Christian teachings, such as the idea that desire is Christian teachings often state that appearances are deceiving, and Portia's father has presented marriage as a situation in which one must risk and give everything for Portia. This fits Bassanio's character as a man who knows he does not deserve good fortune, however he is willing to risk everything to marry Portia.
Throughout his plot to rescue his lover Jessica, Lorenzo can be observed comparing Jessica to a bird that is waiting to be set free. For example, in Act 3, Scene 1, Shylock, for his own part, knew the bird was fledged, and then it is the complexion of them all to leave the dam. Through the extended metaphor that is presented to the reader, we are able to observe the effects that Shylock's control of Jessica has on her character as whole. Later, when Jessica breaks free from Shylock's control with Lorenzo, we can see that this is where the bird is given its wings to fly and breaks free. Jessica's escape from Shylock's control highlights the recurring idea of independence throughout the story and makes profound effects of Jennifer's character as a whole.
Throughout the plotline of The Merchant of Venice, hubris leads to the downfall of many characters throughout the plotline, exposing greed as a powerful instrument in leading to a character's demise. For instance, Shylock's courtroom pursuit for revenge was blinded by his hubris, eventually leading to the loss of all his property and wealth. By highlighting the consequences that a character's greed can have on his future, we can see how hubris ties in with the overall idea of greed being met with punishment that is present when the plot unfolds.
Through identifying and analyzing literary devices found in The Merchant of Venice, we are able to gain a better understanding and discover hidden meanings behind the work as a whole. Best wishes, Dylan Choi.